questions.
Questions.
All right, let's go. Sam Kahn here on the middle.
Your favorite question every week. Status of Alaka, James White, Speedy Noyle. What can you tell us?
We don't talk about injuries, Sam.
Have to try.
We go through this every week.
We do.
But that's all right.
So no comment on any of those guys?
No.
Okay. Since you've been in this league and since you've had the experience recruiting against other SEC programs, how much influence has Alabama had in the state of Texas from a recruiting standpoint?
I don't know. I think Alabama's got, I don't know if influence is the word that we're looking for. I think that, Alabama's a national brand. You can't help but be a national brand when, it's the winningest college football program since 2008. Nobody's won more games. So, because of that, they're able to recruit nationally. And I think what you've seen is over the years, they're a very, very talented team across the board, and they're very well coached. And you combine that with the tradition that they've had, and they do have, it's very appealing. I don't know that there's the word influence is what you're looking for. So they're all over the place, and it's just like us to be involved in a game like this. For being here in our league for 3.5 years in the SEC, and to have a game like this that has division, has conference and national implications is a great thing for Texas A&M in that short period of time, and it's great for our fans because it's at home.
Go to the left, Chip, and then down front, Gabe.
Kevin, it's been a crazy weekend for coaches resigning and getting fired, and I'm wondering if you could just comment on the nature of the business itself, and then maybe something to talk about Coach Spurrier a little bit leaving South Carolina.
Yeah, things have escalated quickly. I think, with the salaries have escalated, expectations have escalated, and because of that, people, there's, it's a short rope. And, if you're in this business, you get that. But as Coach Spurrier said, everybody can't win. And, everybody wants to win. But everybody can't. And so, because of that, as they say, there will be casualties. But, certainly with social media, with the investment that is made in a lot of programs right now, time is short. And it's very, very competitive at the top. And, it's a tough deal. I left Coach Spurrier a message last night, and watched a little bit of the press conference today. You guys know me. I think the world of him. And, as a coach, coming through this business, as an assistant coach, he's kind of what I wanted to be. And from a guy that moved into the SEC and not kind of, but threw the ball and won championships and, had probably the most interesting press conferences in the world. He's accomplished a lot of things that a lot of people don't know him as a person, and to see that was a little bit tough, but he's had an impact on me, and obviously, and Bob Stoops, and a lot of other coaches. But it's hard. There's not a lot of people that can say they won a Heisman, coached a Heisman, and won a national championship. And I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of people that are ever going to be able to say that.
Go down front, Gabe, and then Kate.
Sumlin, I wonder if you could comment on Alabama's front, how impressed you've been by them, their ability to rotate a bunch of guys and be very multiple this year.
Well, it gets back to what we talked about. They've been recruiting to their system. I think when you look at them, I think they're big, first of all, and they're fast. The front, they've got 3 guys that are starting at over 300 pounds. Reggie Ragland is all over the place. He gets them lined up. He's just a heck of a linebacker that is really kind of the leader, and a lot of NFL players on this field. The first stat that jumps out at you is is they lead the country. They're tied for first in the country in 3 and outs on defense. So the first thing you better do is get a first down instead of worrying about the other part of it. They've been very, very stout. And, Kirby Smart does a great job. They're well coached. They know what they're doing. They're aggressive, and they're hard to move up front. So, it's status quo for Alabama defense. And I think one of their players said they're the best defense in the country. It's hard to argue that they're not.
Go down front, Kate, and then Brent. Just hand off there.
It's a tough topic, but can you comment at all on Thomas Johnson? I know the university issued a statement, but can you, as his former coach, and have you kept in touch with him at all since he left the program?
Kate, I really can't because of the ongoing investigation. It's just like the statement said, it's a tragedy for everybody involved, and because it's an ongoing investigation, I really can't. And maybe when it's done, we can talk about it.
And then football-wise, I know you said this is a different team, this is a different season than a year ago, but because it is Alabama who's been the class of the SEC, because of 59-0 a year ago, is this a benchmark game for you guys to really gauge where the program is from a year ago?
I don't know. They said that the last game we played against Mississippi State.
But you didn't lose to them 59-0.
No, but that was every week, Kate, and I'm not being smart here, but as you win, every week I come up here, and this game is the biggest game. This game's the biggest game. And so this game is a big game because we're 5-0, and it's Alabama, and we're top 10 teams, and we're trying to win a division championship and get to Atlanta. And so, last week put us in position, or 2 weeks ago put us in position because we hadn't beaten a ranked team or something like that in Kyle Field. And so every week we come in here if we keep winning. So is it a benchmark? It's a benchmark in the SEC every week.
Okay, Brent, and then we'll go to Mark in the back.
In terms of your defense, how much is it a challenge to slow their run game?
I think what you've seen them do is, they've settled on a quarterback now, and Coker's playing pretty well. Kiffin has come in the last couple of years, and you see the change in personality offensively. A lot of run pass combination play concepts where you're loading the box and they're flipping it out, and then you get out there and they hand it off to the big guy, and so they've got an experienced offensive line. They've got a quarterback who understands the system that they've settled on now. They had 2 excellent running backs, and the young freshman on the perimeter is coming into his own as a wide receiver and become a real deep threat. So, yeah, they're a running team, but they're also quite capable on the perimeter based on how their offense is set up to get the ball on the perimeter and make you tackle in space. So it's that's kind of a dimension I think Lane's brought there in the last couple of years and really kind of expanded them a little bit more than maybe they used to be. But it looks like Coker's getting more and more comfortable with it, and it looks like don't get it confused though. They're still gonna bring it at us, but we've got to start with defending the run and then work from there.
Go there on the right, Mark Tracy, New York Times.
Hi, Coach. Was in town to see the new stadium, and obviously not new stadium, but I was wondering, from the players' perspective, from the team's perspective, have you noticed any differences in the last couple of years playing in Kyle Field, including this year with the new side of the stadium? Is it louder? Are there any noticeable differences from your perspective?
It's interesting. This year is really the first year it's been completed. So the last couple games, it was really been, when we first got here, it was the old Kyle Field, and then over the last couple seasons, we've worked on it, and really this year is the completion. So both sides are done. The field's lower. It is louder. It's considerably louder down there, and the fans are tighter to the action. I think the sight lines are better, according to my dad. So that's pretty good deal. But it's definitely a louder stadium, and I think it's a great player experience. and it's also a great fan experience, and that's, I think, what everybody was trying to achieve with the project, and it's well done.
Go to the very back. Who you got? Daryl? I'm sorry.
Coach, can you talk about Henry and just how punishing that guy can be whenever he gets going?
Yeah, he is he's a load. 240 some pounds. He's a man, and that's what he is. And he's got enough speed. He gets out there and can make people miss. He's as big as a lot of guys that are trying to tackle him from our defensive front. From a linebacker standpoint at 240, but I think they've got a good 1-2 punch. The both of them kind of counteract each other. They got two good backs. One guy, like you said, is a bigger bruiser. The other guy is more of a shake and bake guy, but they certainly complement each other well. And you need a couple guys in this league that have different styles. They bring different styles to you, and you see times where they're putting them both on the field and able to utilize both of them. So, it's I think the interesting part is he's able to do it, but that offensive line has a lot of guys that are back, and they utilize tight ends and fullbacks and move guys around and present some problems to you from a shift and motion standpoint. So, you got to be on it, and you got to play good, sound, fundamental football with in gap responsibility, and you got to tackle well, and we got to gang tackle. We got to get a lot of people the ball, and we've been doing that in this year, and it'll be a real good challenge for us.
Go to the left, Suzanne.
Hey, Kevin, back in August, you all were talking about how you wanted to be a more physical running team, I guess, across the board, and now it's at midseason. How do you assess where you are and where you still want to be in that area?
Well, I would say this, Suzanne, the last two football games we played in were extremely physical, in Arkansas and Mississippi State. So, we were able to win those games. I think, there were some parts to, particularly the Mississippi State game, that we didn't do very well. Didn't handle it very well a year ago from a physical standpoint, and I thought that we handled it a lot better this year. So, that's where this league is, and our goals to do that. I don't know how you would rate them, but are we more physical? Yes. Are we better? Yes. How much? I guess we're going to find out Saturday.
Go to the right, Sam, and then down front, Brent.
Kevin, you mentioned last week you guys are being more sensitive to the mental grind that your players have to go through. What are some of the things you guys have done to help this team as it enters this part of the season?
Well,
mentally?
we've changed our practice schedule a little bit and done some things from a recovery standpoint, particularly last week. And changed up our practice routine to try to help our guys and so far so good. I think our guys are feel really well right now, feel good, and we were talking yesterday as a team. I think we got a lot of juice, we got a lot of energy, and the bye week came at the right time for us, and particularly after those last two games that were very, very physical. And last year, going 8 straight weeks was something that we didn't handle very well. So, when you look at it from our standpoint, as a coach, you've heard me say, you always evaluate where you are, what you do well, what you don't do well, try to stay ahead of the curve on things you do well, but be honest with where you are with things you don't. We didn't handle things very well last year. We weren't a physical football team. So, how do you change that? And without beating your team into the ground and not getting them ready. And so, we looked at a lot of different ways to do things. And right now, as a coaching staff and as a team, I feel good about the look in our guys' eye. I feel good about our health right now. And I feel really good about where we are as far as, team speed and being able to carry that into games.
We'll go to the left here, Cease, and then Brent.
Kevin, if I get back to Sam's first question, if I could, when you talked about 3.5 years, the magnitude of this game, how's this game, do you feel, different than 2 years ago when Alabama came here, or is there a difference?
I don't know. There's different people, So, and it was earlier in the year. It was still a big game. That's a good question. I don't know. Hopefully, what you want is in your program is for that game to be like that every year. And so, 2 years ago, a lot of different people playing in the game. A year ago, that's a good question. I don't really know how to answer that. What's the difference?
Go down front, Brent.
When did you first become aware of Kyle Allen, and do you have any kind of amusing anecdotes or stories from his recruitment and going out to Arizona?
No, he's he's a guy that had popped up in Elite 11. Jake was out there recruiting him, and over the course of time we continued to communicate, and I don't know that there's anything real amusing about the recruitment of him. He was pretty much a no-nonsense guy when he got here on his visit. Came on unofficial and looked around, and then was kind of trying to figure out where he was going to go. But we were just out there last weekend. Saw his parents were there. Just great people and very, very supportive of him. Even through last year at this time. And you got to remember last year this time he wasn't even playing. And so it takes a lot of different people in that situation, from a guy who's really highly recruited to create a support system for him, and they're a very, very close family, and that's probably the first thing that jumped out at you, and, besides his talent. But they're very supportive, and they're here all the time, and he's they're over at the hotel in the lobby and waiting around and in between meetings and looking at different things. But he's a fine young man, and we've got some good quarterbacks here, and his ability, to go through what he did last year and have relative success towards the end of the year and early in this year, that's the same thing we talked to Kyler about, and you never know in this business, you're one snap away from playing, and if you see anything that's happened in this league, the idea is to stay healthy, and we do things to protect them, but playing against these types of teams week in and week out, our big challenge with all our players is, hey, you're one snap away from playing, and we got to keep getting better, and the competition at practice has been good. Kyler's been good for Kyle, and Kyle's been good for Kyler.
Go to the back, Daryl. You wrap us up.
Coach, I know that you guys have played on a lot of national television audiences, but the 2:30 CBS time slot will have eyes on you that probably haven't seen you play this year. Can you just kind of talk about, I guess, maybe the opportunity that you have this Saturday?
That the 2:30 spot is, is something that it was kind of funny. The first year I got here, our fans didn't understand it right away, but that time spot is not split, like some other TV stations, and programs. So, that 2:30 spot is all over the world, and it's the marquee game. So, it's first of all, you like to be in that game, and second of all, you want to play at 2:30 as many times as you can. That means that the game's important, and there's a lot of people watching.
All right, Coach, thank you.
I appreciate it.